I'm Kimberly Washburn, Curator of Education at the Florence County Museum. Welcome to January's Family Day at Home. This month, we're talking all about blending art and science. The project we're going to be working on is slime. We're going to be making slime together. You're going to need to gather a few things from your Family Day at Home kit. You're going to need your medium-sized cup of white glue, your small cup with borax powder, your small cup with glitter, and your craft stick. You're also going to need to gather a few things from around the house. You're going to need 1 tablespoon of water and then a separate 3 tablespoons of hot water. Warm or hot water works best for the 3 tablespoons because we're going to be dissolving the borax powder in the water. It dissolves a little more easily in warm water. So, our first step is going to be to go ahead and dissolve that borax powder. We're going to take our small cup of borax powder. This is 1/4 teaspoon of borax powder. And we're just going to empty that into our 3 tablespoons of warm water and give that a stir with our craft stick. You could also use a spoon or a plastic spoon if you have one handy, but a craft stick works really well. And I'm just going to keep stirring it until there isn't any more clumps of powder and until it starts to look a bit clear and not cloudy. That's pretty good. Just going to wipe that off. The second step is going to be to add some water to your glue. So in this cup I have 2 tablespoons of white washable school glue, just regular old Elmer's school glue. Now, this glue is what we call a PVA glue, or polyvinyl acetate. That's important for slime. With slime, we need 2 things. We need a polymer, or a PVA glue. This is our polymer. And we need borate ions. And we make borate ions by mixing together water and borax. So this borax solution gives us our borate ions. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how those mix together to make slime in just a moment. But first, let's mix our water. 1 tablespoon of water. This doesn't have to be hot. It could just be room temperature or cool. Doesn't matter. And I'm just going to stir that together with my glue. And I'm just going to keep stirring until that's very smooth. I don't want any clumps of glue and water in this. I just want to keep stirring it till it's nice and smooth. So a polymer, or our PVA glue, a polymer is a long chain of repeating molecules. And when we add borate ions from our borax solution to the polymer, it's going to connect those polymer chains with weak ionic bonds, which is going to link them all together to create slime. Okay, so now I've mixed together my glue and water. Oops, almost spilled it there. I've mixed that together. And I'm going to go ahead and start adding my borax solution. Now I am not going to add this entire cup. I'm only going to add as much as I need. And I'll know that based on the consistency of my slime. So I'm going to start by just adding a drop of it, just a little bit, and start stirring. And you'll notice, look at that, it's starting to clump up pretty much immediately. But we still have some liquid glue in here. So I'm going to add just a touch more. Not all of it, but just a little bit more. If you add too much, your slime will be very hard. Look at that. But if you add too little, it won't clump up. Now, once it gets into a clump, you can start kind of working that through your fingers. And it might feel a little wet at first, but as you stretch it, those borate ions are going to help the polymer chains link together and line up to create your slime. Now, right now I just have plain white slime, and it's getting pretty tough. It's getting pretty solid. And now I can add my glitter. Now you can do this a couple of different ways, but I'm going to show you how I like to do it. I like to stretch this out. See, I'm stretching. I'm going to stretch it out and then just pour my glitter right onto my slime. Now make sure you're doing this on a solid surface and not on a like a soft surface like a tablecloth. I am going to show you how to get slime out of cloth if you do happen to get it on there. And I'm just going to start working my glitter into my slime. Now all of those linked up, or what we call cross-linked polymer chains, have linked together to become something that we call a non-Newtonian fluid. And that's kind of a big word, but it basically just means that this slime will change texture or viscosity, what we call viscosity, as we handle it or don't handle it. If I were to leave this slime just laying in my hand, it's actually going to turn back pretty liquidy, and it can sometimes kind of drift through your fingers. But the more I play with it, the more I apply pressure to it, the more solid it becomes. So its viscosity or its texture is going to change the more I handle it, or if I just leave it alone, it'll start to kind of stop being a solid and go back to something a little softer or semi-liquid. Now, this slime can be played with. You can put it back into your glue cup. You might want to wash that out before you stick your slime back down in there. But if you do, just stick it back in there. It'll just absorb the rest of your glue. For your snowy, sparkly winter slime. But let's say you want to go a little farther with this science experiment. We've created a non-Newtonian fluid or slime using borax and PVA or just white washable school glue. But what if you want to try to dissolve this back into a liquid? If I wanted to try to dissolve my slime, I'm just going to show you with a little bit of it because I do want to keep my slime. I could put a little bit of slime. This is also a good way to clean it up if you get slime on something like fabric that you don't want it to be on, if you get slime stuck in your clothes. And I'm just going to take a little bit of vinegar. And if I add some vinegar to my slime and I give it a stir, it's going to start to dissolve. Now, this is sort of another chemical reaction that's happening. It might be a little hard to see, but my slime is starting to dissolve back into a liquid. The reason that this happens is because vinegar, this is just white household vinegar, is acetic acid. Vinegar contains acetic acid, and that acetic acid will break down those ionic bonds that were formed when we mixed together our PVA, or our white glue, and our borate ions. So now it's completely liquid again. You can see that. So this is a great way to clean slime up, but also just another fun component to the science experiment of making slime. We hope that you enjoy playing with your snowy winter slime.